Is every child unique? That's something to think about, for sure. As parents, we get really excited whenever our child produces even the tiniest bit of movement. Some youngsters mistakenly assume they are more intelligent than their classmates, just as every adult is his or her own child. Now, allow me to tell you about a remarkable horse who lived in the late 19th century and was cared for by a guy named William von Osten. His name was Clever Hans, and he was famed for his intelligence. After trying his theory out on a few animals and failing, von Osten finally found success with Clever Hans. Von Osten believed that animals were capable of learning just like people. This horse was able to answer 90% of the questions that were put to him, including intricate mathematical operations and queries pertaining to the time and date. The phenomenon drew onlookers from all over the world, and even members of the scientific community took an interest in it. But, a psychologist by the name of Oscar Pfungst found that the horse was unable to respond correctly to questions when blinders were placed on him or when the questions were asked from behind a curtain. The horse only responded correctly when he already knew the answer. Pfungst came to the conclusion that the horse was not exhibiting intelligence or making calculations. Rather, it was using body language to read the clues provided by the interrogator. This occurrence served as the impetus for the inquiry into self-fulfilling prophecy, which refers to the occurrence of something simply because it is anticipated. The self-fulfilling prophecy is a concept that refers to the situation in which our expectations of another person might have an effect on that person's achievement. This phenomenon has been the subject of a number of studies and pieces of study. Before getting into the fascinating study that led to the discovery of this phenomena, let's investigate its roots, which are more frequently referred to as the Pygmalion effect. In the Greek myth of Pygmalion, a sculptor creates a statue of a woman and later finds himself falling in love with the likeness he has created of her. His fixation on the statue finally causes it to take the form of a real lady, whom he weds and has a kid with in the end. This story is meant to be interpreted as a metaphor for the phenomenon known as the self-fulfilling prophecy effect, in which an individual's expectations have the potential to become a reality over time. The Pygmalion effect can be observed in a variety of facets of our life, including but not limited to schools, businesses, and families. Because of its effect, we will be better able to direct and guide our children, friends, and employees if we grasp it. On the other hand, in contrast to the Pygmalion effect, the Golem effect is exactly the opposite. When we have low expectations for something, we put the possibility of that thing actually happening at jeopardy. Robert Merton, a sociologist, was the first person to seriously study the Pygmalion effect in 1948. He defined its impact as beliefs that become reality over time. On the other hand, throughout history, thinkers in the fields of philosophy and psychology have debated and commented on the strength of expectations. For example, Jacques Bossuet, who lived in the 17th century, was of the opinion that the dread of appearing weak is, in and of itself, a sign of weakness. Sigmund Freud observed that a person's most significant asset is the experiences they had as children, since these events can have a profound impact on a person's entire life. The Pygmalion effect was the subject of a significant study that was carried out in 1968 by Robert Rosenthal and Lenore Jacobson. They discovered that the expectations of a student might have a considerable impact on the student's score on an IQ test. The results of the study were eye-opening and have garnered significant attention in the discipline of psychology. The results of the exam were analyzed, and the teachers were informed that 20% of the student body at the school have the potential to be gifted. In addition, the names of these pupils were given to the teachers. On the other hand, for ethical considerations, information regarding the performance levels of other pupils was not supplied. The teachers were unaware that the youngsters who were selected had an average IQ and had been picked at random to participate in the experiment. The only difference was that the professors thought these students were very talented, and as a result, this assumption colored how they interacted with the students and how they instructed them. All of the children were given a second IQ test at the conclusion of the experiment, and while the results revealed that all of them had improved, the results of the exceptional students were particularly impressive. In yet another fascinating experiment, Rosenthal used laboratory rats to navigate a labyrinth. A class was provided with two different groups of mice to study, and while one of the groups learned very slowly, the other group learned considerably more quickly. The mice in both groups of animals were selected by chance. Students who were told that one group was superior were able to teach their classmates how to navigate the maze with greater ease, whereas students in the other group continued to have difficulty. According to the findings of these studies, expectations can have a substantial bearing on performance. If teachers have reason to believe that a kid has the potential to be gifted, they are more likely to devote additional time and resources to that student, which in turn leads to improved academic results. In a similar vein, when people are held to high standards of performance, they are likely to have a stronger belief in their own capabilities and to exert more effort in order to attain their objectives. Children who are not fundamentally distinct from their contemporaries are said to have the potential to develop into gifted individuals. On the other hand, by the end of the trial, they had achieved a considerably higher level of success, which led Rosenthal to the conclusion that the reason for this difference was due to the way in which the teachers treated them. Unconsciously and in a reactive manner, the teachers exhibited positive behaviors such as being warmer and friendlier with the students, offering them more time and assistance, increasing the number of opportunities for participation, and providing constructive feedback. The findings of the study have broader repercussions and can be applied in a variety of contexts. For instance, CEOs who believe that another employee in their firm have higher potential than themselves are able to impose greater tasks and set higher standards on that employee. A person's maturation is accompanied with an increase in expectations, which in turn generates a positive feedback cycle. On the other hand, providing a manager with support and assistance when they are experiencing failure might create the necessary conditions for success. When a teacher is in a classroom setting and has students who listen with interest, that instructor will strive much more, and as a result, the teacher's potential will improve as well. It is possible for a teacher to be motivated to perform at a better level if their students have high expectations of what they can accomplish from them. The Pygmalion effect is a recurrent pattern that may be either beneficial or detrimental to the individual who experiences it. This phenomenon influences not only our beliefs but also our behavior and our accomplishments. It permeates every facet of our existence. It indicates that our perception of reality is subjective and that it may be impacted by the people in our environment, such as our family, friends, society, and the people in positions of authority. The Pygmalion effect is, in its most basic form, a discussion about the power of expectations and the way in which they can mold the way in which we think and experience ourselves. Yet, it is essential to keep in mind that the Pygmalion effect does not imply that everybody, regardless of their physical or mental limits, is capable of accomplishing anything they set their minds to. Anxiety and tension can be brought on by having unrealistically high expectations, especially when those expectations are excessively high. The researchers McClelland and Atkinson found that our ideas about our potential to succeed in a scenario have a significant impact on how likely we are to be successful in that situation. When we believe that our chances are lower than 50%, we are more prone to experience feelings of fear and uncertainty. So, the Pygmalion effect is not about mystical or magical thinking. Rather, it is about encouraging and guiding our children, students, or employees to recognize their full potential in order to achieve their goals. We can help them achieve more than they ever dreamed possible by providing them with challenging goals that are grounded in reality. It was previously claimed by Carl Sagan that our example and the values we instill in our children can have a significant impact on the world. The specifics of such aims are of the utmost significance. By boosting our own and others' expectations of ourselves and others, we can create a positive cycle of achievement and growth for ourselves and others. Positive expectations have the potential to become self-fulfilling prophecies. In a nutshell, the Pygmalion effect is a potent instrument that we may utilize to empower not only ourselves but also those in our immediate environment. We can make a brighter future not only for ourselves but also for the people we care about if we have ambitious goals in mind and if we have faith in our capacity to realize those goals.